I think any discussion of solidarity has to involve asking people to fight for causes and principles that aren't directly their own, that don't directly affect them. You would not have equal rights for women if women had just been left to fight for them on their own. You would have just had this ongoing, oh, calm down, dear, the girls are just doing that. Nothing would have changed, because the whole reason why women had to fight for rights was that the world was run by men. So it's been vitally important in any of the big wins that men have fought for this cause or something that they think is just and right.
Nowadays, we've got so used to the stay in your lane idea that it becomes almost impossible for people to imagine that men could support women in a joint struggle. But I actually think it's fundamental for any kind of struggle, to be focused on all people together. I mean, it's a very luxurious type of politics, it seems to me, where you can start turning away potential supporters.
Well, the history of campaigns for abortion rights is littered with completely inspiring women and men. In this country, the campaign through the 20th century was called the Abortion Law Reform Association, which began back in the 1920s, but the modern history of it is through the 60s. So it was the campaign that worked to bring into being the 1967 Abortion Act, which now people recognise had its limits. But if you look at the individuals that are involved in that campaign, they are completely inspiring people. David Paynton, sadly died a few years ago, but he was one of a number of male doctors, actually, who played an absolutely critical role in both the politics and the practice of abortion rights. So he trained as a doctor and completely moved from being against abortion to an absolutely dedicated campaigner for abortion rights and provider of abortion. Sacrificed enormously in his own career because of this. He never got promoted to a professor, and he did as much as anybody actually in this country as a man and as a doctor to make abortion available to women, trained up other doctors. That's what he dedicated his life to doing. I mean, the thing about abortion is that clearly the experience is different for men. Men don't get pregnant. Men aren't going to have to confront this in their lives in that very practical way. But that doesn't necessarily take you anywhere in terms of the arguments you might make, how you might see the issues, how you might articulate them, how you might convince other people, how you might make the case. If you talk to any abortion provider, they will tell you that there's plenty of women who have become pregnant and availed themselves of their services who will make it clear that they definitely don't think that they're like the other women having abortion. They think that their case is a good case, and then there's these other women who have abortions where the case isn't a good case. So the simple fact of womanhood and the fact that you have reproductive biology which may lead you into a situation where you have an unwanted pregnancy that for whatever reason you have to deal with, doesn't necessarily take you to a place of a proper understanding of the issues and solidarity with other women. We also know that many, many women get involved in the other side. Movements against abortion are populated and oftentimes led by women. So my point here is that there's no inevitable correlation between the fact of needing an abortion and being somebody who can make the case for one. Personal is really not political in that kind of direct sense. The experiences that we have can leave us off in all sorts of directions in the sense of what we might think about it politically.
I have to say, I don't think any of my ideas come from my uterus. I mean, I think my ideas come from my brain and my engagement with other people through reading books, through conversations. So this kind of notion that our bodies, kind of if you don't have the right body, then you can't express a particular idea. I think we need to really call that out as just rubbish.
If you look at the political sphere and people who have made the case for abortion rights in the British Parliament, that is most certainly not something which is specific to female politicians. You will find female politicians who are committedly opposed to abortion. And of course, it's their right to see it that way and make that argument. There are men who have made the case brilliantly.
Do you believe it's important in your view for men to support women's right to choose?
Absolutely. Abortion is an issue for everybody.
Why do you think it's important for men to support women's right to abortion?
Well, I think women should be in control of their own bodies, shouldn't be put upon by men.
It's everyone's right to have autonomy over themselves.
Those of us who want the case to be made absolutely need to recognise the solidarity that they're offering to women, but it's not a kind of, oh, I'm feeling your pain. It's a proper argument, a substantive argument about freedom and the freedom that all individuals need. And there's many men who articulate that brilliantly, just as there are women who articulate it brilliantly. You know, if women are going to become freer in their lives and be in a different position still to the one that we have now, which is a lot better than it used to be, we need to change the objective situation that we find ourselves in. You know, we need to decriminalise abortion. We need to gain better facilities. There needs to be more money spent on the provision of abortion. Those aren't questions of identity or feeling. You know, they're objective characteristics of the society, and we need to work out how we're going to make pressure for change.